Hello, and welcome to the very first Reviews from the Crawl Space.
Hello, I'm Vicky.
I'm Douglas. And we're going to start out by kind of giving you guys an idea of where we're coming from on this whole review thing. Growing up, my dad always had this rather large vinyl collection. Well, I thought it was large. I mean, I've seen much bigger now, but growing up, I always thought it was a fairly large and interesting and diverse record collection. But over the years, it ended up in boxes and usually occupying crawl space. And eventually, I kind of ended up wrangling it from him. I can't remember whether it was they gave it to me because they didn't want it all around anymore, or I just kind of said, hey guys, I have to take the vinyl with me. So I've had the vinyl for the last little while, and you know, we listened to some of the standards, Floyd, Zeppelin and stuff like that, but in all the time that I've been around this collection, I honestly haven't listened to the vast majority of it. I would say probably 80 to 90%. So we thought, we got to talking, we were talking about actually cataloging the collection, because it had been cataloged once when we first got our hands on it, but it's been lost since. Like, the list has been lost over the years. So we thought, okay, why don't we sit down and catalog it and actually see what we got. And so we honestly just kind of started picking we picked the first couple albums to start listening to, and we thought, or to start cataloging, and we thought, well, you know, there's got to be a better way of doing this. Carl had suggested a program called Discogs. And it really allows us to find out with our vinyl, not only keep track of the collection and, you know, genre information and stuff like that, but allows us to see what it might be worth, as well if it might be original pressing. So just general information about it. So we thought, okay, great. So we'll do this, and then we'll have, you know, a better idea of our collection. And then I kind of thought, well, why not take it one step further and have us actually talk about some of these albums, because some of these, some of these albums are going to be, for both of us, you know, pretty impactful in terms of our youth and growing up and stuff. So yeah, it'd just be kind of interesting to go through some music history and go through the collection to find out what we have here, and hopefully we can you know, grow a little bit musically, because yeah, there's going to be some interesting shows, and there are going to be some shows that have like Chris de Burgh on them. So with ups and downs, and we'll ride it together. So.
As Doug mentioned, we are just taking them randomly.
Yeah, right. Like just
they're stacked in our in the space randomly. There's no specific order, and the rule is that we listen to both sides. And
yep, 3 albums, both sides,
for the review process of it.
So just a shout out to my dad for the collection over the years, and shout out to Carl for, you know, kind of giving us the idea to catalog it the way we're going to do it. So it's funny, just a quick thing before we get started, this is probably about the 3rd time that we recorded this, and the first time we kind of just did it by the seat of our pants without any sort of research and stuff, and it didn't work out super well in that regard, but yeah. So
each one will get better.
Yeah, each
we
one.
Hope. Okay, so for our reviewing pleasure,
yeah, for
I
our
guess.
reviewing pleasure, here's the 3.
The first 3 albums that we have for this week's episode are the original motion picture recording for St. Elmo's Fire. The second one is the original motion picture soundtrack for Firestarter, done by Tangerine Dream. And the 3rd album is Barbra Streisand. And the title of this album is Memories.
Okay, and I'll just start off with the St. Elmo's Fire. It was kind of interesting when we first did the first video, because we had both assumed, for some reason, I don't know why, we both assumed it was a John Hughes movie. We thought, we had a conversation about it and everything, but it is not. It's a Joel Schumacher joint, I guess you could say, the kids would say. So that was shocking, honestly. I would have bet money that it was a John Hughes movie. Maybe the John Hughes movie would have had a better soundtrack, but...
Okay, for me, I really enjoyed the movie. It was, you know, like Doug said, it was in the genre of those John Hughes, where he used, you know, the it actors of the day.
Like coming of age kind of.
Yeah, it was just full of those kinds of people, a very diverse cast, and I really enjoyed the movie. And in a day and age when soundtracks weren't really a big thing, to listen to it now, it's kind of, yeah, there's really not a lot to it. I believe there's only one song on the album where there's any kind of vocals. The rest is mostly instrumental. And I'm grateful that these days soundtracks are a lot better. You know, the likes of Tarantino and Edgar Wright.
Just as an example.
As an example of, you know, really good soundtracks that you'd want to listen to over and over again. This is one that's very forgettable in my books.
Yeah, well, there's nothing, I mean, other than the main track, and I guess we'll talk about the tracks and stuff, but other than the main track, the Man in Motion, St. Elmo's Fire, like, I mean, there's nothing that you'd know. And, like, you have, like, you mentioned Tarantino, or you're right, but Tarantino, I mean, you know, out of Reservoir Dogs alone, there's all these songs that are stuck and tied to movies and scenes and memories where, I mean, even I've seen this movie, there's nothing. Like,
no.
I remember listening to it, it's like...
You would never associate any of the songs with any parts of the movie, whereas, you know, a Tarantino movie, you hear that song, and it takes you back to that movie and to that scene in that movie. So they're much more impactful. This was not impactful at all. So
like I said, that there's nothing for a movie that a lot of people seem to hold in high regard, that you put it on there and it's just generic 80s schlock. I mean, other than the main track, I thought about the Billy Squire. I think it's the only one that I've ever heard of before. I will note that it's produced and composed by David Foster, so like, you know.
Yeah, so he's you know, a very specific.
Yeah.
He has a very specific style, which shines
through
in this.
So yeah, and I don't. Other than, like I said, I don't know of the movie. Like, I've seen the movie. I never enjoyed it. I mean, talking about the John Hughes stuff, I almost wish, because I enjoyed those movies more. Where this one, just as a kid, made me sad because I never wanted. Like, I thought it was horrible. Life later on, it's like, oh, I hope this is not. It was actually worse in real life, but so anyway. So as a music review, there's no reason. Even if you love this movie, there's no reason to have this music. You could
watch the movie.
Watch the movie. Just download that one track if you love St. Elmo's Fire theme. But other than that, don't even. Okay, so we're gonna get to we'll wrap up this little part of the review with actual details of the vinyl. Like, so what I've been able to find out, as far as I know, and in terms of original pressing, I'm not sure the numbers match up. There's a difference of the label on the actual album is different, and quite a bit different actually but I can't find any other examples, but like the numbers match and everything, so I don't know. So original pressing, does it really matter?
We think so, but...
Does it really matter? No, it doesn't really matter. No one gives a crap about this. So the condition, other than like a little bit of a dinging here and there, which I think is from us moving, is in great... Honestly, I think the vinyl maybe been spun once or twice. It was like brand new coming right out of there. It's in good condition. Good tracks on here? No, there's no good tracks. There's nothing that, like I said, other than title track that's worthwhile. The price, when I had originally done the research using the app, $5.
Oh, we wish.
Yeah, yes. $5.20 was the price, median price at that time, and I think last time we checked it had dropped a little bit. So if you had invested heavily into St. Elmo's Fire, you better get out.
The year was 1985 as well.
Oh yeah, so
to mention
year
that
track
at the
85,
beginning,
yes.
is that the soundtrack and the movie are from 1985.
So yeah, that's really all we have to say about this one. That's a big no thanks to St. Elmo's Fire. So whatever by metric who were 0 out of 10, thumbs down, whatever metric it is out there. If you want to like pull your pants down and like put a brown eye on it or something, that's a seal of disapproval. I don't know, but it's just awful.
Okay, so our second album is Firestarter, original soundtrack, and it's Tangerine Dream. So initially when Doug put this album on, I was kind of like...
You were kind of down,
Yeah, I don't know whether I'm going to be able to listen to both sides of this. This is pretty crappy. But then he brought up the fact that it's really kind of in the vein of the music that we listen to a lot lately, very ambient, and so we went and did a search for some more Tangerine Dream music, some recent stuff, and yeah, he's right. It's something that we would listen to in our everyday life. Yeah. So I changed my mind about it and gave it, was a little bit more open-minded. Mm-hmm. Gave it a listen, and have to say that I really enjoyed it. I have only ever seen the movie once, so I can't really associate the soundtrack to the movie, and very much how we discussed as far as St. Elmo's Fire, there are really no identifiable tracks that you would immediately peg a memory back to the movie, because it's all very generic and instrumental and...
Yeah, that's I kind of find that about any Tangerine Dream stuff. I mean, for almost any soundtrack, is that, like you said, it's not even identify one single, like a single or a hit, it's just a side or a block.
Yeah, it's just all instrumental, composed specifically for this movie, and not taken out of pulp culture and plugged into a movie.
Yeah, it's an original score, for sure. And same thing for me too. I haven't seen this movie for ages. I'm gonna say 20, 25 years. Honestly, it's been forever. But I did Tangerine Dream's music. Okay, I mean, I know that we have other soundtracks in the collection, and it's just nice electronic ambient stuff, even from the 80s. Like, if you had listened to this on Spotify, if you had an ambient list, an electronic list on there, this stuff would probably be on it, and you wouldn't know that you were listening to something from the mid 80s, because everything's kind of so retro now anyway. So I liked it. I'd probably listen to it again. So okay. So we'll move on to so like I said, but we're not getting into specific tracks because so far we really haven't been to any of the albums that had specific tracks that we like, whoa, check out this one. No, it's just, I like the second side, the B side of this one is, I thought, a little stronger. And I'm pretty sure we heard it the other day when we were listening to some of it. So anyways, okay, so on to some of the details. So the original soundtrack, the pressing, I don't know if it's original or not, but everything matches. Labels match, numbers match, so I'm just going to assume it was one of the first Canadian pressing of this, the first run of this. So as far as I can tell, the album itself's in great condition. Like I said, any of the nicks and scratches and stuff that have probably just from us moving the last time. So the average going price for this one was $17.59.
Surprisingly.
Yeah, I was surprised too. Almost $20. I'm sure that's fluctuates a little bit here and there depending on sales. So it's just that. Oh, and the year too, I mentioned, is 1984. So okay, sorry to go back to this for a quick second. So there you go. So we have St. Elmo's Fire and this within a year of each other, and as far as I'm concerned, just totally different in terms of kind of what a soundtrack should be or what it is now. They kind of tried with St. Elmo's Fire, but it was more of like just a cash grab. It's like, here's that one song that you like from that movie, and then some shit.
Well, I think that was the way that they did it in those, like, back in the 80s. I think that no one had put popular songs into movies. I think because maybe it bloated their filming budgets, and
it wasn't.
So they paid for an original soundtrack to be composed, and that's kind of the way of the world back in the 80s. However, things have changed gratefully, and
to some degree that they actually do more meaningful popular songs and stuff, but they still thankfully also do this kind of thing with Tangerine Dream, like you see it from Reznor and stuff. They still do blocks of instrumental music that's really good. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So okay, so there we go. That's Firestarter.
Last but not least, the Barbra Streisand album Memories. This is a compilation of her hits. It's not a best of, it's just a compilation of hits from 1974 to 1981. And the two that stand out the most for me, I should maybe start out by saying that I grew up in a very musical household. My dad was a musician, and we always had music of all different varieties and genres, and everything was fair game. We listened to a lot of different things. Barbra Streisand was one of the ones my mom really liked, so we listened to a lot of her. But for me, on this particular album, there's two songs that stand out for me, and it's two from her movie called A Star Is Born, and a remake of the original. So those are the two that I like the most. But it's funny, the minute Doug put this on the turntable, I was able to, the very first song is
Memory, isn't it?
Is Memory. Yeah. So, I mean, I was singing along right from the get-go, and he was quite amazed that I knew this stuff so intimately.
Pretty much straight through, yeah.
And consistent. Surprised for me as well that I still had those lyrics locked up in this brain of mine.
And you talk about your bad memory all the time, and you're whipping off all these songs you probably haven't heard in forever.
So it's you know, from that standpoint, it's one that I enjoyed, and I would probably listen to it again. Although I'd probably play it through my Spotify playlist, and not subject Doug to.
Yeah, regardless,
listening.
I think it'd be better through. I mean, if you're into this kind of thing, it'd be better through headphones anyway. A good set of headphones. A lot of this music is kind of made for that anyway. Yeah, and for me, I mean, I don't like Streisand. I just don't like her voice. I think she's just overrated, and I know everybody's going to just be like, oh, but she's so... It's just this monotone through the whole entire thing. And what's weird is that the songs themselves, like if they were sung or like done by somebody else, I'd probably really good. Like the songs themselves are never the issue. It's her performance. I can't stand the voice. Is just nails on the chalkboard.
One of the other interesting tracks on this album that particularly interested me was the duet with that she did with Donna Summer back in the day of the disco, and that was "No More Tears, Enough Is Enough."
So just look at you're wondering why we keep looking down as the list of the tracks.
The
track list is on the side here.
So yeah, it's "You Don't Bring Me Flowers," her duet with Neil Diamond. You know, there's a lot of really good songs on here.
The Way We Were.
If Barbra Streisand's your thing.
Yeah, it's exactly. I mean, if that narrow range is your thing, for sure. Like that's like you said, it's a compilation. So these aren't necessarily her most huge hits ever, but it's a compilation of solid songs. Like, and also too, I want to mention that the South Park guys have forever etched Mecha Streisand into my brain, and I honestly cannot think of anything else when I see her.
Yeah.
So eventually, when I'm good at editing, I'll just have some Barbra Streisand heads pop up and scream or something. But I can't say it. So, anyways, on to like the nitty gritty with the album. Once again, in good condition. Any of the recent nicks or whatever is probably from us. Album looks like it's only been played maybe once or twice, so it's in good condition that way. In terms of
good tracks, I would say like the one especially Evergreen, the love theme from A Star Is Born, and I particularly liked the duet with Donna Summer because I'm a Donna Summer fan.
Yeah, you're a disco queen.
Yeah.
And I have to say, like, I mean, like I said, I don't care for any of her performances on the album, but you know, the Donna Summer one, like I said, the songs themselves wouldn't be bad if they're done by a different artist. I'd enjoy them, but there's nothing on there that I could recommend. So just like Vic said, 74 to 81. The median price that we found was $6.70. So
if you're looking to buy this album, don't spend more than that.
I want to say too that some of these albums, and I probably should have done this at the beginning, some of these albums, these three here are a good example that weren't part of the original collection. Somewhat recently, let's say in the last year, we were given a big box of LPs from a friend, and they were all in just brand new condition. Essentially, these like these, they're just brand spanking new, never been played. Where some of the other albums in there's nothing left of those. Like it's just almost like a shiny, flat, smooth platter left.
So we can't blame Glad's dad for these three albums.
No. So like, don't. Yeah, this is newer stuff that we're given for free. I was going to take it regardless of what was in it. I just wanted to point out that there's going to be some large, differences, disparities in terms of the condition. So yeah, thank you for watching, and we'll get some more. I want to try for at least one a week. Preferably. Who knows if we get there, because it's going to be some hard slogging for sure, but...
So if you like this one, put some comments in the
comment
section.
Yeah, like and comment, and
and follow us, subscribe.
All right, thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.